Hey, what's up? We're coming to you live with coffee from SamPaul from Queenies Largs Bay, and we're here to talk today to Kristy from E Co Hair. How you going, Kristy?
Yeah, I'm great. Thanks.
That's good. Very good. Thank you. Very good. Thank you so much for coming and having a chat with me and having a nice coffee. Because, who doesn't like a good morning coffee? My cup's around the wrong way, but let's give it a bit of a shout out. Shane Gore was the original coffee cup for SamPaul maker. So obviously you're a hairdresser and a salon owner, which is like pretty amazing. Like small businesses are quite a hard. Hey,
That's alright.
no, like I mean, you've got to give props to small business because it is a tough gig. They say I think a lot of small businesses go under within the first 5 years. So,
Yeah, I think that's about 8.
8. Well, there you go. So you're already out of the red zone.
Yeah, and I had another business before that.
Oh, there you go. Look at that. She's a natural. She's a natural.
I just don't like working for other people.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. I do and I don't. Like I don't. But I also like the idea of a regular kind of paycheck, and so that's why I do both. I sort of work for myself and I work for someone else, so I kind of got a bit of both. So
it's a hustle when you put it in.
Yeah, like I'm not afraid of hard work, but it's a different kind of hard work when you're working hard for somebody as opposed to kind of actually creating the job for yourself. Which so I've got a lot of admiration for people like yourself that can go out and do it and make a good success of it.
I think it's definitely something that does when you start running a business, does start to kind of consume your life. In a lot of ways you probably didn't anticipate before you started it.
Yeah, that's right.
Because you're always thinking about it because it is a hustle. You're always thinking about how you can generate more, attraction to your business, more clients, more revenue.
Yeah, most definitely.
Be popular on social media, it's all about that.
I know social media is such a big thing now, isn't it? Like I was just chatting to the lovely staff here today, and like as soon as I mentioned what I was doing, they're like, "Oh, have you got Instagram and stuff? Can we follow you?" And we'll follow back and rah rah rah. And I'm like, "This is it's so cool," but it's such a additional thing to worry about when you're running a business.
Especially in the hair game, like there is so many amazing hair salons, especially in Adelaide. And, lots of really artistic, creative people. And, award-winning hairdressers, and so it's highly competitive. So if you're not sort of on top of your game, then you sort of get left behind pretty quickly, I think.
Yeah, no doubt. Have you won any awards yourself? Or?
No, it's just not really ever interested me, to be honest. I admire people who have, have the drive and the time and want to put all that energy into doing some really amazing creative work that can be photographed or presented on stage. But for me, I just love spending time with my customers and my staff. And I just love the environment we've created. It's really home, it's plants, and for me that's enough. I just get joy out of that, and we create some really amazing hair in the salon, and you see it on Instagram and stuff like that. But I think our thing is more about being really real and raw and keeping it organic, as they like to say. So we don't really like to edit any of our photos, and I guess it's more like in that realm than like really high-end like photography.
I actually really
sense.
No, it does. That makes great sense. And you know what? One thing I took away from that, which I think is really important to bring mention to, is how you said you don't like to edit your photos. I think one of the biggest problems I perceive in society these days is this unrealistic expectation we create by editing things. Like with this show, for example, as I said to you off camera, I don't tend to edit too much. Obviously there's a little bit here and there that just kind of to tidy it up and that, but generally I keep it fairly raw because it's showing a true representation of you and me talking, having a coffee, and same with your photos, like like modeling photos and that are quite often airbrushed, and it just gives kids coming up who look up to those kind of photos and stuff are really unrealistic.
I think it's just really toxic for our society in general. I think that social media is a great thing, but I think there's a lot of mental health and self-loathing and eating disorders and all this sort of stuff, and women expecting them to look a certain way, and men too, throughout their entire life, and they can't age and they can't ever look real. And I just think that if you're for me personally, if I am over-editing my photos and making all of my clients on my Instagram look like supermodels or models, I just think that I'm putting that out there, and I think it is a little bit toxic in a way. And I think people look at that and they look at your Instagram page and they go, "Well, I can't go there because I don't look like that." And that's not what I want. I love it. Like we have such a diversity, we have like people who are like 70, 80 who like have funky pink hair, and a lot of people who are obviously still 18, 19 coming in and getting beautiful balayage and extensions. And I love the diversity in all the different clients. I'm not really going to attract one particular client, like my favourite thing to do is to do punk haircuts. Like I love.
Oh, lovely, lovely.
You know, I love doing mullets and I love doing punk haircuts on women, and you know, because I don't look like now, but I used to be a punk. So like, I just, you know, that's what I like doing. But you know, I think every hairdresser has something that they really love doing.
I think if you do, like, you know, do what you like doing, you're going to attract the kind of people that are going to appreciate what you do, and you know, you're going to give your best because you're doing something you know, like, I think, you know, if you, as the saying goes, you know, if you love what you do, you never work a day because it's like you enjoy it so much, and I think, you know, by tackling it the way you have it, I would say you probably feel like you don't really work. I mean, I'm not saying you're not exhausted.
I don't. I mean, I honestly don't. Like, you know, sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't go to the beach, I don't go to work, but I don't go for a sup or a kayak or something. But honestly, when I get into that space, all our clients are just such beautiful people. Yeah. All the staff are just beautiful, amazing people. The space is awesome. I'm always having a laugh and having a good time, even if things are stressing me out and being a little bit annoyed about this or that, as you do as human beings. Yeah. Like, I'm still having a good time and loving it, and I am really grateful for that, because I've had a lot of other jobs in the past that I haven't enjoyed, and it's nice to really enjoy
for sure
what you do. But
that's good.
You know, I think always evolving and growing and learning and educating yourself helps that as well, that you don't get stagnant. You know, I think, especially in hair, because it's a creative industry where you're an artist, as you know, painting hair and cutting hair and things like that. If you don't keep it fresh, you don't continue to educate yourself, then you can get a bit bored. So
most definitely.
That's the thing with creative people, get bored.
Oh, definitely. That's definitely been a running theme for my show. I never set out to make this show about, like, talk about mental health. Like, I'm a big advocate for mental health, but my plan wasn't to do a show where everyone talks about mental health. And, you know, like, I do that in other avenues. But one thing that comes up every single time,
I think it's a topic we're allowed to talk about now.
Well, you know and that's what I love.
It wasn't even that long ago, maybe 10, 15 years ago, we just did not talk about mental health. You didn't talk about the fact that you had anxiety or depression, or that, you know, you weren't coping. So, I think I struggled a little bit with anxiety and depression and throughout my life, but then I think it really hit me when I became a mum, and I got quite bad postnatal depression, and that, you know, that was quite a dark time for me, but at the same time I had this beautiful new baby. I think it's definitely something that needs to be talked about, and I think if you've gone through anxiety and depression, postnatal depression yourself, then, you know, when you're on the other side of that and you've, you know, healed yourself in a way, or you know, if you need to medicated or whatever's worked for you, then you're able to have that common ground with somebody, and that's what I love when I've had people come into someone who suffer anxiety, depression, or have had, or are going through postnatal depression, because I think when you've been through it, you can see when someone else is going through it.
Definitely. You've got the insight.
Yeah, you can be there to help them. If they want you to, obviously. And just be a shoulder to cry or listen to, or whatever, and that, you know, they can feel like, oh, you've been right then, so you can relate to me, because there's nothing worse than something, oh, I understand, I get where you're coming from, and they haven't really, they haven't walked in your shoes. Yeah,
exactly. But if you walked in similar shoes, then at least you've got that empathy kind of aspect of it.
That's right.
But yeah, it is crazy, like, just how much mental health seems to come up now, and I think it's like you said, it's the best thing, like, I think ever, because you know, growing up as a kid, I got you know, criticised for showing emotion and things like that.
Especially being a man, right?
Yeah, because I was a man. Yeah, you know, and I fought against that for so many years, and you know, finally, I think the people that were doing that to me kind of accept now that that's who I am, and I guess society's attitude has changed as well. And you know, can I just say though, one of the best things I love about hairdressers, because I sort of flip between hairdressers and barbers, and I love barbers. I love the artistry of the way they cut. I find they're very animated. Well, you know, it's not even about that. The last time I went, there was actually a couple of women working there doing barbering, which I was like really excited to see. Not cutting my hair, not by choice or anything. It was just like, you know, my number was called and up I went.
Barbering's come a long way in the last few years. Like a long way.
But the thing that I do miss when I go to the barber more regularly and not a hairdresser is there's that almost therapeutic aspect to it. You know, like they wash your hair and they kind of massage your scalp a bit, and they sit there and they talk to you and they ask you heaps of stuff. I find barbers don't tend to kind of ask much. They'll just get to the job and go into it, and that's all well and good. But the hairdressers, they ask you questions, and it's almost like therapy, because you're in that vulnerable position where that's, you know, you're in that vulnerable position where someone's cutting away your hair. And you just kind of feel you can open up, like, and I love that. And you know, I actually joke at my day job, which for those that don't know, I work at a fruit shop in South Plimpton, Franco's, and I joke when I'm on the checkout that I'm like a hairdresser of the fruit world, because I encourage customers to open up. Oh, how are you going? Oh, I'm doing all right, but not that anyone would care if I wasn't, kind of thing. You know, that kind of attitude. And I'm like, no, I do. I said, I'm asking you. Be honest, you know, and you know, if they've got a fairly big order, then it gives me a good opportunity to really talk to them, and being passionate about hair. At what point in your life did you realise or decide that you had that passion?
Well, I had a few jobs. Like I worked in hospitality, I worked in office work, and I didn't mind hospitality because I was around a lot of people, and that was interesting. But office work was a little bit soul-destroying, and that's in the time when I thought, you know, I need to do something. I always knew I was creative, but I couldn't find my thing. You know what I mean? I did fashion design when I was like 19, 20. I did that for a little while, but I enjoyed it, but it still didn't light me up as much as I thought it would. I think. And then, so then I did some of this other work and a bit of photography. And then one of my friends, you know, she used to get me to do her makeup when she'd go out and things like that. And I was like, I just do it for fun or whatever. She was like, you need to become a makeup artist, you're really good at it. And I was like, okay. So I went up and studied makeup artistry. And then in that makeup artistry course, they had a little bit of hairstyling. And then I started doing all these weddings. And it was the minute I put myself out there, suddenly I was being booked for like 20, 30 weddings.
Oh, wow.
And I was just like, okay, this is obviously what I'm meant to be doing then, because it's just like, boom. And then from there, I realised that I really loved the hair component of that, probably more than the makeup. So then I thought, oh, maybe I should go and study to be a hairdresser. So I did like I didn't do an apprenticeship like everyone else because I was in my early 30s by this time. So I went and studied at one of those hair schools. It's actually since it doesn't exist anymore. But it was really great. I learned a lot, did really well. When I finished, they actually asked me to start teaching there, but I just wanted to get out in the industry, so I got out in the industry and just was working in a few salons. But I still had my wedding business, which was still doing really well, doing the hair and the makeup. And then I was doing that for a while and had like this home salon because I had Romero, who's a baby. So it was good to have a home salon and then go out on weekends and do a bit of freelancing, the weddings and things like that. But I was getting to a point where I was like, I didn't really want to live in my house anymore. I was a bit sick of being on the road. I'd done some fun stuff, like some photo shoots and things like that. But I thought, maybe I'm going to have a shop. And I had, I created quite a few, like a following of quite a few, clients. With the hair by that stage. And then I opened E Co Parkside, and that was 8 years ago. So Romero was 2 when I did that. So I look back now and think, you're crazy, because I was a full-time mum. We didn't go to like childcare or anything. I mean, he obviously had to once I opened the shop, but I was full-time mum, and I was doing a bit of work at night and doing some weddings on the weekends, and just always busy. And then I opened the shop just to add a bit more to that. But so once I did that, I realised I couldn't really continue with the wedding business anymore. It's like and the freelance sort of stuff. So I stopped doing that and just focused on the shop. And just sort of built that up, which it's been a pretty slow process actually, because I don't think I've really dived into it because I'm still quite focused on being a mum. I was still little.
It's so important.
But it's done well, and I'm at a point now where I've got like 4 staff that I absolutely adore and all these beautiful clients. And I think for me it was about creating a work-life balance for myself and the staff as well. That I have. Because I think in the hair game, not all, and I think a lot of salons are getting much better at this, but a lot of salons are they're expecting people to work like 40 to 50 hours a week, 45 to 55 hours a week, and a lot of hairdressers get to a point where they're sort of in their mid-40s or 50s or whatever, they're just completely burnt out and they don't want to do it anymore. So I think that I just wanted to create that. I wanted to create work-life balance for myself and for the staff, and
such an important thing, work-life balance,
and do something
especially
creative. And be surrounded by cool people.
I have to ask, is there a story behind the name E Co?
Yes. So I was married for 14. Well, I was with my ex-husband for 14 years, so I was married for about nearly 10. And his last name was Adelgi, which is Adelgi, if you say it in Aussie Logan accent, Adelgi, in Hungarian Adelgi. And so I just took his name and we got married, and then when we started the business, I just called it Adelgi Hair and Body. That name sounds really daggy now, but at the time I thought it was cool. And then I changed it to a Deli Collective.
Yep.
And so I had a Deli Collective when I opened the shop, which I'd had for like another year or two with my business. And no one could say that name, obviously. And so people would always be saying, I tried to tell someone about your business, like my friend and my family, but I can't say it. What is it again? How do you say it? And they would have been coming to me for a long time. So then I thought, you know what, I really need to change this.
Yeah,
so I changed it to E Co.
Yeah. Nice and simple.
So, and people think it's eco, you know, like you drop the end. And I guess we do try and be a kind of eco salon, like, you know, we try and recycle what we can and use really good brands that have good ethos and stuff like that. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Wow, what a journey.
Yeah, that's right.
So, you know, so what have you got? What's coming up for you next? Like, do you have plans to eventually open more salons? Or are you kind of like happy to?
I thought about opening a second one, but I don't think the one that I currently have is quite where I want it yet. It's nearly there, but there's just a few more steps. You know, like I've always had this in my mind. I know what I want. Just like there's just a few more steps, and I think we'll be there. Yeah. And then I might, I think I'll consider opening a second one, but I want the second one to be very different to this one. And I've got some ideas for that. So,
wow.
But I think so because I live. Also, my shop is in Parks over the city, and I live down here at Largs near the beach because I love the ocean, and I'm a beach bum. So
nothing wrong with that.
I think I want I think I want to have like a space that's a little bit closer to my home.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
So obviously, the last 3 years in business has been pretty tough. Yeah. So,
definitely. Yeah. Did COVID affect you?
I think it affected everyone.
Yeah.
But I think it definitely affected the hair and beauty, especially world a lot. You know. And you're right there.
I don't know how you could possibly miss a mouth this big, but I managed it just then, so I might try and edit that out. I think. You were saying?
Yeah. So.
Gosh, embarrassing.
Yeah, I definitely think that COVID affected
Sorry.
people in the hair and beauty game a lot.
Yeah.
And I think I've seen quite a few salons close. And that's really sad because when you see any small business close, I think for me personally as a small business owner, I know how much blood, sweat and tears went into that. I know what they sacrificed. I know that they were thinking about that business 24/7, like I said, it's like a hustle. And they might have sacrificed I don't know, not having another baby, their marriage, not spending time with their family and friends, like not going on that holiday. There's a lot of things that I think people don't really think about when you are running a small business. Because you just think, you're a small business owner, you must be rich.
I know, isn't it funny how that have that attitude?
People thought that the minute I opened a business, everyone, you're rich. I'm like, I just opened my doors, man. I'm just trying to grow this.
Not only that, but I mean, when you work for someone else, all you've got to worry about really is like paying for, maybe in your sort of industry, maybe pay for your tools that you take to cut hair, the clothes that you wear to work, maybe a uniform, and that's about it. Whereas when you've got the business, you've got the electricity, you've got the rent, you've got advertising.
If I told you what my minimum is on YouTube in a week, you'd be surprised. Like I think that people think that hairdressing, is not that expensive, and why are you charging me so much? But there is, if you're using really good quality products, and obviously paying your staff correctly, and renting or owning a beautiful space, and just like there's, and then there's all the little things. So it is like, it does have quite high overheads, but obviously you're creating this amazing experience, making people look good and feel good, and giving them some counselling and maybe a glass of wine or something along the way.
Hey, there you go. If you want a wine and a haircut.
So it's all of that makes people feel better, I think.
Yeah, exactly. It's an experience.
Yeah, it's an experience.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you so much for having a chat with me. And of course, thank you to Queenies for letting us do this. Not that we actually asked permission, I just kind of told them this is what I'm doing, and they were so cool about it. So thank you so much, and thank you for recommending Queenies. If you're in the Largs Bay area, or even if you're not, make the trip, because honestly, this is definitely up there with one of the best coffees I've had since doing this show. And chai, I know it's called Coffee with SamPaul, but I do allow chais and teas. I'm not an ogre.
For the hippies.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you so much for taking the time out to tell us all about what you do and your salon, and we'll put some links to your salon in the comments, and hopefully people come and check it out.
Yeah, cool.
Cool.
We'd love that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.